Hi, in this video, I'm going to address audio quality since somebody brought it up in a message that they sent to me. Hi, I was just curious why the audio quality sucks in so many of your videos. This is particularly surprising because in a few of your videos, you actually mentioned having been employed by Avatar Studios as an intern and also as a technician when you were younger, which seems to be a world-class recording facility, which makes it kind of ironic that your videos are filled with low-quality audio with pops, plosives, and just random bursts of just really bad sounding noise. Please explain. Please explain. First of all, what did you pay for these videos? Like, can you show me like a proof of purchase, a receipt, anything that warrants an actual explanation? Because that's one of those things that you have to think about anytime it comes to investing money in something. So I am investing the money in the setup, but what is the return? And also, what is the return that I get for a different setup? See, one of the things to understand is that if I were doing, let's say, music production, by all means, I'd have a Neumann U87, and I would spend an extra $6,000 to have quiet air conditioning and air filtering installed here, and I would care about all of these little things. And because you cannot make money doing that if your stuff sounds like shit, unless you're like William Hung or something. But yeah, like the difference in audio between what I would get with this and let's say a DPA 4066 in a perfectly quiet, acoustically treated room, there's a difference. But would that difference bring more viewers to the channel? Would that increase in viewers increase the ad revenue enough for me to say, it's worth it for me to drop $700 on a microphone and a couple of $1,000s on a quiet air conditioning system and more acoustic treatment other than the few acoustic panels and tiles that I have in here? And that's the thing. Like, would it actually bring more? Because this is the thing that I bring up with the G tool. And one of the things that you may notice with this channel is that when I'm talking about one thing, I'm never really just talking about one thing. I'm talking about how that same thought process that I apply to that one thing can apply to many different areas of life. Not just running a wire and a motherboard, but many different areas, dealing with people, dealing with customers, dealing with family, dealing with difficult situations, dealing with a little wire. It's pretty much the same thing. With the G tool, again, this is one of the things that I keep bringing up. That's a $500 tool. You may be able to make the iPhone corner look maybe 1.5% better than how I can make it look with my titanium stick, my set of different flathead screwdrivers, and the plastic handle. But is that 1.5% difference going to bring you more business? Again, if we were in manufacturing iPhones, so if I was actually manufacturing something that was going to go new into the box, I'd probably want the corner to be absolutely, positively 100% perfect, not 98% perfect. And that would be really, really important. But when it comes to a phone that is like somebody brought it in looking like a triangle and it's bent and their contract is up in a month and a half, do I really want to spend that $500 to get that extra 1.5%? Is that customer going to notice that 1.5%? Is that 1.5% difference in the corner that, again, that may not even exist, actually worth it to them versus the additional minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes of time it's going to take to use that machine versus the 3 to 5 seconds it takes me to use my method? Because a lot of people are in a rush. They want it to be done before they walk in the door. And the answer there is no. So again, there are times when something really does make sense to do, but then there are times where it may create the same improvement, but where it makes absolutely no sense to do it. And I've set that bar here with audio quality. Did it make sense to get a microphone that goes near my mouth versus using the microphone that was built into a camcorder halfway across the room? Yes. Was it because that legitimately detracts from the video? You really can't understand me very well when the microphone is on the other side of the room and it just sounds like a tinny pile of crap. It's annoying. But the difference between, again, this and let's say me having a perfect room and a Neumann U87 on the desk going through a really nice setup, it's not going to make a single bit of difference in what I'm trying to get across. So I'm not trying to get across a sonic experience. I'm trying to get across understanding. I'm trying to get you to understand what's going on in a circuit. I'm trying to get you to understand what I'm doing as I do it. I want you to understand the narration. So what you're hearing here to explain, that's called plosives. That's from proximity effect, which comes from me buying a cheap-ass $65 microphone that goes very that's meant to be used close to your mouth, that's cardioid. So cardioid microphones have something called a polar pattern. So whereas an omnidirectional microphone picks up everywhere, a cardioid will only pick up what's right in front of it. And one of the negative side effects, well, like it's negative if you don't want it, I suppose. Some people want it, is something called proximity effect. Now, proximity effect on let's say a Neumann U47 sounds really cool. Proximity effect on a $65 Shure sounds like a steaming pile of shit, which is where when you get the microphone closer to your face, and when you're closer to it as you talk, not only do you get something called plosives, which is when I go puh, you really hear the puh, like it's a lot more puh than what you actually would hear if you were in the room with me, but you also get more bass and more low end, and that can hamper sound quality a little bit. And that can be fixed by getting an omnidirectional microphone, which would have cost me a small bit more money, which I simply was not prepared to spend because I did not care. Again, you can get goods, and there are ways you can mess around with the mic as well. And you could probably do sound checks to find the exact place in which to put the microphone in order for you to have the minimized effect of that while also not getting an annoying tinny sound. Because if you move the microphone too far away, you wind up with this completely tinny sound with a bunch of S's, and it sounds like a complete sibling pile of crap, which is even worse than the proximity effect pile sounding of crap. And then again, this is where the compromise comes in again. Again, if I'm manufacturing an iPhone for new in box, might be worth it to buy a G tool. I'm fixing phones for hippies that have literally that started with a rectangle that are bringing me a triangle. That's not really the priority with it. To the hippie, the priority is me saving him that few minutes by not being a little perfectionist and putting the bits in and doing that and all of the bullshit with a G tool. The same is true here. The priority is not getting absolutely perfect vocal sound. The priority is, I have 8 boards to fix today. It's 5 o'clock. I want to be out of here by 8 o'clock. Doing a video is going to slow me down. What can I do? So I get this microphone. I just throw it on. I make sure it's somewhere near my mouth. And that 5-10 minutes that I save by not doing a sound check, believe it or not, is actually enough to make sure that I get out of here on time. And as I talked about in the previous time management video, that is very important to me. I value my time. I value getting things done in the allotted time frame that I gave it, because it is a form of self-discipline. And it also makes sure that my day is not run like a mess. I really have only a certain amount of time that I could spend in a small little room with a bunch of solder fumes, and a schematic and a board view, looking at little things that cloud my focus to where I can only see 4 centimeters in front of my face because I've been staring into a microscope all day. There's really a limited amount of time and patience that I have for that, and I want to use that creating content. I don't want to use that fucking with the microphone. And that's another thing that, by the way, if you want to talk about audio engineering and working at a good studio, that's really important to discuss. There are some people that, like, the band is ready to perform. They want to perform and they want to do, and they're driving, and everything's jiving and sounding good, and they're playing well together. But no, you just want to be a little fucking audio engineer. You just want everything to see. You make sure that when you solo the bass track, that it just sounds exactly the way it's supposed to in your head, and you fuck with it for like a half hour, and then you do the same for everybody else. And they were excited to play a half hour ago. They were excited to play an hour ago. But no, again, you just had to fuck with everything. And what happens is that they're not that excited anymore. So instead of having a 95% or 90% perfect recording of a really excited band, you now have a 100% OCD recording of a band that's not really that excited anymore. And that's the thing you got to realize. It's about capturing a good performance. It's about the artist's comfort. Not to call myself an artist. I record motherboard repair videos for YouTube, for fuck's sake, but you get the idea. My priority is that when I sit in my chair, I can get started. I'm excited. My head is fresh. I'm ready to go about explaining what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, how I'm going to go get across this idea. I'm ready to know that, because again, I start a lot of these videos, believe it or not knowing what it is I'm going to find and not knowing what's going to be wrong with the board. And I have to start this video feeling like I am going to kick that thing's ass. I am going to, as Iron Cheek would say, break its back, buck its ass, and make it humble, old country way. I got to feel that way. And, when you spend 5 or 10 minutes fucking with the video, 5 or 10 minutes fucking with the lighting, 5 or 10 minutes fucking with the audio, it's really easy to lose the motivation to do anything but read off of a script and do a lame-ass video that doesn't really have anything of value. And that's really not what I'm looking to do. So I totally prioritize getting shit done and having my performance be everything it can be, if you can even call it a performance to fix a board on camera, versus screwing with this and seeing, does it sound better when it's over here or over here? I'm just not going to that depths of it with audio engineering. And again, there was actually another paragraph there that I didn't read because it was just a recommendation of all these different types of mics and all these different things I could do. Like, why don't you just get a mic and put it on the desk over there and just talk into it or get a good one? So I want to give you a little idea of what it's actually like here in terms of noise when I have everything on. So I'm going to turn on my Hakko. I'm going to turn on my air filter. Going to turn on the air conditioner. Going to turn on the exhaust fan. I'm going to turn on the Zalmo. And after I've turned all these things on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the noise. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the audio treatment that I use to get rid of the sound of all that stuff, so that you can figure out what this room actually sounds like and understand why it is that I'm using a microphone that's worn close to my face instead of, let's say, a shotgun microphone or a microphone on the desk. This is what the microphone on the desk would pick up. This is how it would sound. Really, that is the audio quality in this room. Sounds great, don't it? I left everything on, by the way, and all of this stuff is needed. I need a hot air station to do a video. I need this air filter to filter out the nasty air in the room because I like breathing nice air. I need that loud air filter because I need that the fume extractor, because I need that smoke instantly whisked away from me before it goes up in my lungs and causes all types of bad stuff. Need my Zalmo to do BGA rework. I need my air conditioner on because it's the middle of summer and it's 98 degrees and humid in New York City in the summer, and I need my exhaust fan for just to get the junky air out of the room and out into the backyard when there's a big soldering job to do or anything like that. And this is what it's going to sound like. So again, I'm going to turn off everything that I use here to adjust the sound for a moment, just so you can get a little bit of an idea of what I'm already doing. So this is the sound that you would be subjected to if I did not give a shit about sound quality. Really, like this right here is what you get. But no, I actually put a little bit of effort in to give you this. That's not good enough for you for some reason, and honestly, why, I just don't care. And call me crazy, I don't believe that, right now, I would say that this channel gets anywhere from maybe $100 or $300 a month, around there. Call me nuts, I don't think that's going to jump to $1,000 anytime soon because I changed the microphone. I don't. I think it's the content and the viewership. Like, when you're looking at things to improve in your business, when you're looking at things to improve with your ideas, I really feel like what you should be looking to do is not just improve every little thing. Because again, this is something this is the difference between 13-year-olds and adults. As much as I hate insulting young people or putting down young people, there are a lot of things that young people do that are just kind of silly. And one of them is, I think, you kind of lose sight of the big picture. So what is it I'm trying to achieve, and is making this thing better going to bring me closer to what it is I want to achieve? And marketing, better content, new content, different board repairs, getting people to actually realize that you can even learn motherboard repair off of this channel. Those are all things. Those are all the bottlenecks. The sound, Like you wanna look up Siva Institute. You wanna see sound that's not you wanna see sound where you can't hear shit, and in the very very rare occasion that you can actually hear the words that you don't understand what the fuck they're saying. Check out the other ones that are doing this really. Or how about the ones that just have techno music and no voiceover at all? Like I don't know. But anyway, I am nothing if not a capitalist. So if you think that the audio quality is so absolutely awful that you just cannot stand it, that you just will not watch anything that I put up here as long as the audio is that bad, here's what you can do for me. You can go online and you can go to sweetwater.com and you can buy me a DPA 4066 microphone. So this is an omnidirectional microphone. So I can put it as close to my face as I want, and I will have no proximity effect. I won't have to deal with that annoying bullshit of when you put it close to the face, you hear the plosives and the puzz. There will be no puzz because an omnidirectional mic has no proximity effect. Further, being a DPA microphone, it is going to be incredibly linear. It's going to be incredibly realistic. You'll get to hear exactly what my sick coughing voice sounds like in full high definition and perfect quality, which is really going to make a big difference, of course. But again, if that's your need, by all means, I am a capitalist. There's the website. I will welcome your purchase into my video editing setup, and I will happily use it for every video that I do. And that's one of the things about the microphones too. Again, when I was talking about prioritizing and what it is I chose this for, I like Shure products because even when they're not the best quality, they're indestructible. So again, I could be wearing this thing if I put it on the desk and I have the hot air pointed at it by accident for a few seconds, which has happened, it'll still work. If I drop it, it'll still work. If I yank it on the corner while I'm like running over to reach for a board, it will still work. I honestly I prefer the sound of Idiomatic headphones, but the reason that I have Shures, I had the Shure E3C, I had the Shure SE535, I had a few in between those. I love the E3C. I still remember being like 14 or 15 years old and saving up to buy those things. I thought it was so cool when I found the deal for $80 for the E3C online, and they were the perfect fitting headphone. But the thing is, with those headphones, even though I don't like the sounds of them as much as the Idiomatic, you know what I like about them is that in a week I'm not like, oh, there's no left side, oh, there's no right side, oh, the cable is totally split. If you look, like, you can hang people by the Shure headphones and they're still going to be fine. Whereas the Idiomatic, like, literally, you can just have it. You can have those headphones sitting on the table and the fucking cable falls apart. So if here I know that at work I'm not necessarily the nicest with a lot of my things, that especially like worn heads, I know that that's just going to wind up getting thrown around. A microphone's going to be inhaling solder fumes and getting burned and probably getting dropped and probably getting the crap kicked out of it. And one of the things I know about this is that I can kick the living shit out of it. It's still going to work every day. This is going to work every single day for the next 50 to 70 years, no matter what I do to it. And that's one of the things that I liked about it. Like if I spent $700 on a DPA, again, I've used the 4066. It is the best head-worn microphone I have ever heard in my life. It is just absolutely amazing. If I bought that $700 microphone and I just so happened to step on it and it stopped working, I would damn near cry. But with, again, like $65, $70 microphone, I step on this, A, whatever, it was about $70. And B, I'm not going to cry. And it's still going to work.